Like you can really completely transform the body and how it looks. And damn near almost anything that you want, right? Like obviously you can't train to make yourself taller, but you can make yourself wider, thicker, thinner, you know, more here, less there.
You create illusions.
Yeah. And so, you know, that's really, really cool that you have the power to do that through nutrition and consistent proper training and muscle building. And so I think it's a really cool thing. But I think a lot of people just don't have the patience for it and the consistency to allow it to develop.
It takes time, but and I will add this, the things that you have to tackle or contend with when it comes to strength training your body or developing it in a particular way is you don't have unlimited ability to recover and adapt. So, you know, we're going to talk about exercises that really add that visual element, the ones that really give that aesthetic look and what that is all about. But there's a lot of exercises. There's 100 chest exercises. Well, why don't you just do all of them then? You know, maybe these ones over here, which are the ones you guys are going to mention, are really good for developing this aesthetic look. Why don't I just do all of them though? Why don't I just do every single exercise I can think of? And that's because you're limited by your ability to recover and adapt. And so you have to pick the best ones, and you can't do all of them. You can only do the ones that are the best, and you have to recover and adapt. You have to give your body that time and ability to do so. Otherwise, nothing's going to happen.
Also, sticking with the Arnold analogy, since you went that way, of packing on clay, certain exercises pack on the most clay for you to sculpt and work with.
Period.
And so, yes, there are exercises that are good for chest development, but what happens to a lot of people is they do these small movements or movements that don't pack a lot of clay on. That sure, it works your chest and it works from this angle or it hits this part or this thing and it's different and unique. But part of sculpting and building a physique like this, the first part is actually packing on a lot of that clay in the areas that you want. And then the sculpting part is that cutting the body fat and leaning out, and then it's showing that.
Generally speaking, a bigger muscle looks better than a smaller muscle does. And that's generally speaking. Now, when you get lots of muscle size, you're already jacked, then you can play with like little tiny movements. That's
right. But early on,
build muscle.
There are exercises that are superior to others when you are trying to body build and sculpt, because you want the things that pack on the most clay. And the things that pack on the most clay typically are a lot of the exercises that we talk a lot about. And I do think this is an important point to hammer home, because in the bodybuilding world and the Instagram world, a lot of people follow these pros, and these pros have already packed on so much clay that and what is unique on Instagram or that goes viral are these unique movements
that you've never seen before.
Yeah, you've never seen, or a new machine, or a sideways chest press thing, or adding bands to things.
Just smearing clay.
There's these novel exercises or movements or things that they're doing, and what people miss is that those people had already packed on a ton of clay from doing the movements that really move the needle. And now they're doing these novel things. And then you have this, and I say this because I was this kid. I was susceptible to this at 20, 22 years old, looking at I was always chasing the new creative exercise and the newest thing that was being advertised in the magazine versus sticking to what packed on the most clay and getting strong in those lifts. And that, I think, is such an important thing to talk about.
So let's start with chest. So first off, let's talk about what makes a chest look aesthetic. So obviously muscle, right? So you need muscle on your chest for it to look aesthetic. So a big, strong chest looks better than a small, weak chest. That being said, there is a way to develop your chest to make it look more impressive when you have your shirt off. And this really points to the upper chest. So you can have two chests that are very well developed, but one chest is much more developed than the upper part in relation to the rest of it. And it gives it a more powerful presence. It makes it look more balanced. Yeah. And it creates a
bigger,
really nice,
fuller. Yeah.
Yes, a big, full looking chest, because the upper chest is really developed. So what we want is an exercise that is a big bang for your buck exercise, but one that also develops the chest in a very aesthetic way. Yeah. And for me, that's the incline barbell bench press, or incline dumbbell chest press. That's a good compound lift, builds a lot of muscle, but it also develops the chest in a very aesthetic way because it focuses on the upper chest.
I love this advice because traditionally, the flat bench press is what's been hailed as the best.
Not a bad exercise.
Yeah,
Great exercise.
And because of that, so much emphasis has been put on doing flat bench. And many times I was like this. I'm not sure if you guys were the same way or not, but I neglected incline because it was difficult, because I couldn't lift as much.
Yeah, it's heavier.
Early years of lifting, I was embarrassed to not be able to put a wheel on the barbell. And so, at that time, it took me a long time just to get to there on a flat bench. Last thing I wanted to do was throw quarters on and go do the incline bench. So it was something that I neglected for so long, yet that's one of the best ways to build an aesthetic chest. And so, I totally remember the year that I made that goal of, okay, I'm going to, no matter how embarrassing it is for me to lift this light weight on my incline, my goal is to try and get my incline bench press up to what my flat bench press was. And it was the most growth and development and the best my chest ever looked was from that. And then I've never looked back. And now it's become the staple is like,